Do you guys remember that one indie Battlefield lookalike, World War III? The game that was supposed to be the Battlefield killer because of the horrible Battlefield marketing? Yeah, that game. You may have forgotten about it. It's not at all shocking. The game has been dry as a bone. No updates for months, no news, no blog posts, nothing. What little information I do have, I found from the Farm 51 investor reports. So, not a whole lot going on there. The devs have essentially been radio silent, until now. The devs recently did a brief interview with a Polish YouTuber, WW3. I hope I said that right. By the way, I have the TLDR of all this linked in the description for the final points at the end if you want to just skip until then. Now, the reason they've been radio silent is because after they partnered with My.Games as their publisher, they handed over the communication and marketing to them, apparently. So, the dev team has essentially been unable to speak publicly other than to investors. My.Games has decided that it's best to just go underground for now and allow everyone to just forget about the game until they market the giant re-release and get people hyped again. I too think that that's a good idea because it's really the last hope for the game. I've actually got a video about that as well if you want to take a look at that. I'll shoot it across the top of the screen now. But regardless, the key point is here that My.Games has taken over communication, and my guess is Mr. Camille had to get it approved for them to even do this interview. That being said, let's take a look at what was said. It's all in Polishese, but luckily I've got some friends in low places and was able to get this interview translated a bit. It's obviously not going to be a direct translation, but I'll just give you a brief overview. We'll start with a question along the lines of, is the game going to be updated for players that already own the game before full release? Because the game build currently is 0.8 and the remaining player base is wondering if they'll even get to see a 0.9. His answer affirms that we will get an update before the release. He also talks a little bit about closed testing being planned. So the answer to this is yes, you will get to test an update, but it looks like we aren't going to have any idea what that looks like, how it's going to be implemented, how we are going to get to play the game, whether we have to sign up for closed beta, just not sure how that looks. However, along the lines of patching the game, in the interview and in several investor reports, the devs are adamant about making the game a multi-year experience with support and DLC down the line. This goes along with the idea of a free-to-play model, which isn't precisely addressed in this interview, but because of their previous comments, it's likely they're going to use some sort of battle pass system. That seems to be the craze nowadays. Unique skins and challenges for years to come. I personally think the Modern Warfare style of battle pass is a great structure for this game. Speaking of Modern Warfare, it looks like skill-based matchmaking won't be a thing. So us vets can go in and stomp those noobs real hard on launch day. Get ready for those accusations, boys. It does look, however, as if they're trying to develop some sort of competitive or ranked play idea. That seems to still be in the works, and they don't give too many details on that. Regarding this, two things I'm hoping for is community servers and mod support. And I actually talk about that in another video. I'll run that across the screen as well. But those are definitely big features that could really help out the game. One interesting thing I find recently, especially with this interview, but in other questions with investors, when asked about the console release, the devs tend to respond with, "We cannot comment on it at this time," instead of what they previously had said, which was, "depending on how the release does." This makes me think that something has changed a little bit in the development and with the contract with My.Games. Now, if you didn't know, My.Games owns the game Warface, which is on many different consoles, and also free-to-play. I believe it's also on the Switch, if I'm not mistaken. It also must bring in a boatload of money. So that just gives more of a credence to this idea of free-to-play and on consoles. But we'll just have to see. My guess is it's going to be on the next-gen consoles just because of how hard the game is to run on a PC. Now, further evidence on this is that Farm 51 has registered to sell in the PlayStation Store with Xbox coming soon. Now, this could just be a formality for the future, but as of now, there aren't any other games that they've announced or that they're really working on, as far as we know. Again, take all that with a grain of salt because I don't know the inner workings over there. It's just according to investor reports. They do have plans for a future project, but they haven't dove much into that. And unfortunately, guys, that's all I've got for you. There isn't a whole lot of info, so the TLDR for this, if you've just skipped here. Number one, they're planning closed testing and patches, and likely regular player testing at some point, but we have no idea when, no idea what that looks like. Number two, Farm 51 has registered to release games on the PlayStation Store, so it's more likely it's going to release on the next-gen consoles, but again, that's not set in stone. Number three, the game is likely going to be free to play with cosmetics in the game. I would expect something like a battle pass system, though that's just part of my own opinion. That just seems to be what's working lately. Number 4, no skill-based matchmaking, so you can pwn the noobs daily. And number 5, There may be some sort of competitive play, but they're still trying to figure that out. Again, guys, I know it ain't much, but it's honest work. There's only so much I can know, and for now, you'll just have to keep playing the build until your brains turn to mush or until you glitch below the map and turn off the game. That's all for this one, guys. I appreciate you just taking the time to listen. If you want to stay up to date, hit that subscribe button and bell. Until next time, Capital Tactical G gamers, I will see you on the battlefield. Take care.